Hello and welcome to this review. Today we're going to have a look at a couple of figures. I received them a few days ago and I've got two very interesting ones that I've been asked to review. One is the S01A and the other one is the S07C, which are not very recent figures, but I noticed on the internet, I couldn't find, and on YouTube as well, couldn't find a comparison, like video, properly done in terms of these two figures in specific. Also to share with you a couple of things that I also received and I bought as well, just to manage these figures and also how to maintain them as well. I've got a few objects here on the table that I'm gonna share with you, and also the figures as well. And I got also another couple of figures as well that I want to review later on, but these two are the ones that I would like to show you and share with you. So usually what I've actually got here is three head sculpts. So I've got one from this brand called Tbleague, and I've got two from Tbleague. This one came with the box. As you can see, SDH022B, and then I've got another one which I don't remember the actual code, but I'm gonna just put the specific somewhere here on the screen about this head sculpt. Very nice. And then I've got the Tbleague KM1377 that have been sent, and also I've got a bunch of new sort of clothing that they sent me. I've got this one here. I've got this other one here that I couldn't understand how it works. My wife was telling me about it, and then of course I borrowed that from her. This is the face powder that I use with the other figure that I showed you in the previous review. I've got some, baby powder. That's what you have to use for this kind of, for the material, for the silicone, not to crack. And I've got a couple of brushes for maintaining the figures. I've got a toothbrush. I've got one of this hairbrush from my daughter toys, and I've got this scissors as well. Sometimes you have to cut some hair or need to cut some excess somewhere. It's good to have them. And then I've got a bunch of this, which are the head inserts, the head cylinders that goes inside the head sculpt. Adapters, in a sense. If they don't fit with the body, you can use this different head sculpt. When you get a head sculpt like this, it comes with this piece of plastic, but these are just two spare ones that I've got. Then I've got a couple of elastics if you need to manage accessories or hair, etc. And I've got some blue tag as well. So that's what I've got so far. Again, I've got now the two figures here. I'm gonna basically get rid of this stuff out of the way. These are the two figures. They sent me actually four in total, but these two are the one that I would like to view with you. This is the S01A, and then I've got the S07. The S07 apparently is full body with all the accessories apparently, and this S01A is the one without the head sculpt. This it's just probably the body. And this, the S07, is the actual 2014 version. I'm not sure when the S01A came out, but the 2014 is the most recent comparing to the two, I believe. And then these are the S01A is a medium bust pail, and the S07 is a large bust pail. So I'm gonna be opening the S01 first and see what's inside. So this is a smaller box than the S07, also because it doesn't come with a lot of accessories essentially. So when you open it up, it's literally this. You find the box, you find the manual, which is this. Very similar to the one from the S34 from my previous video. If you want to see the previous videos, just check the link here on the screen. Same material. This, I have to probably guess, that is one of the first model that Tbleague actually produced. Before, Tbleague was called Phicen, and now they changed the brand, they changed their name to Tbleague, but this is what essentially was branded Phicen. for my understanding. Correct me if I'm wrong. So that's how it comes, that's how it looks. That's the back. This is apparently the skinnier version of the figures. I learned also to not call it dolls, because they're not actually dolls, they actually call it figures in the world of, you know, collecting these figures and these objects. And basically you can dress them as you like them. If you are into superheroes, if you're a geek, if you like to dress them up, superheroes and stuff, you want to do like a kit bash with different other characters, you can use them for that purpose. The difference that I can see from the previous S34 which I got here, that I reviewed in my previous video, have a look at that if you want to. There are quite a few improvements on the new one, the S34. The S01, the skin is basically similar or probably almost the same. The S34 is slightly brighter. Probably you're not gonna see it on camera that much, but this skin is slightly grayish, but just a hint of grayish. It's very similar. If I have to compare it to my skin, this is probably the S01A. It's actually closer to European skin, I would say. And you can see the comparison in terms of the breast here is actually medium, but comparing to the size of the body is proportionate. Comparing to the S34, actually the body, it's slightly smaller, I would say, just slightly skinnier, but the bust looks like a large bust rather than a medium. But anyway, this is what you find in this box. Nothing else. There's no hands accessories. That's the only hands you find in the S01A. In the other one I found more of them, but also comparing to the S34, the more recent figures, as you can see, the hands on the S01 comparing to the S34, it's actually much bigger. I don't know if you can see it there, but it's actually longer and bigger. That's it. You can see here the two, comparing to the two, is longer. Oops, let's see, that's it. It's actually longer. I don't know if you can see it better on screen, but the proportions are definitely different. And it looks like also the arms are slightly longer as well. I don't know if it's anatomically correct. They say there is an anatomically correct. I have to, you know, trust them. In terms of flexibility, again, on the box, actually on the manual, it says here it has 22 or 28 points of articulations. So this was the first version that they had. This head has actually, yeah, also genital parts as well. They're not as accurate as the most recent versions, but it's very well done. Also, the only thing that I would say that it's a bit peculiar is the arms. So the arms here are slightly too high, the armpit area, when you put it all the way down. Not that much, but it's just a slightly imperfection comparing to reality. You would have to probably position the hands differently, like this, to make it look a little bit more realistic. But I think these are made, these figures are made mainly to wear something on it, not necessarily stay naked, really. And by the way, not meant for kids because of obvious reason. But anyway, this is, in terms of flexibility, it's quite flexible. It looks like, though, the stainless steel skeleton inside is slightly stiffer on the joints comparing to my S34, but it's fine. And also, in terms of the high heels, this has got a high heel mold. They're not flat like the S34 that I got here. These are flat, but they're actually also flexible. You can flex them easily. They are seamless as well, like this one. If you want to have a look at that review, have a look at of course, the link down in the description or here on screen. But this one are basically made for like high heel shoes, etc. But you can still move them around. They're quite flexible. But if you put them flat, of course, they're not as flat as you would see the new figures, which are improved quite a bit. In terms of other characteristics, I don't see anything else that I can show you now. I need to probably compare it to the other figure that I'm going to open now, the S07. this is the figure for the S01. Again, the back, also the shoulder blade, they molded quite nicely. Actually, they look quite real. And again, the movement and the position that you can have with these figures are pretty amazing. You can do pretty much, you can take all the position you want with this figure, so it's not too bad. It actually is the same as that one. It's just it feels stiffer than the previous version. Okay, so that is the S01. I'm gonna put it on the side. Now we're gonna open the S07. Well, actually at the beginning I say S07C. This says S07. So the code is PLB 214 S07. Now I'm not sure exactly what the letter C means. Probably it is the head sculpt, which is different. I'm not entirely sure. And this the slightly different version, the S01A. But this comes with all, you know, bells and whistles. It comes with the stand, which is pretty nice. Comes with even a little bit of clothing as well. It comes with a manual. Comes with a swimwear, which is an orange swimwear, and then comes with, if I open that, it comes with 2 sets of hands. One, these are the holding gun one, the one you can hold the gun, hold the props. And strangely enough, these are different from the other one I've got. This has got some nail polish, nail paint on them, like slightly orange. I don't know if you can notice from the camera. Can you see it? There we go. And then I've got the other 2, which are for holding like props, weapons, or anything else from these action figures. Very accurate, very nice. Hand size comparing to the S01 are very similar. Slightly, I would say, just a tiny smaller, I would say, but just a little bit, not too much. And then comes, of course, with the headstand, which is behind here, and that's the figure with the head sculpt as well. So opening the head sculpt look like this. It's quite nice, quite attractive. Actually, I opened this before just to check them, and I was a little bit disappointed by the hair condition. This is look like they chopped the hair just very badly. It doesn't look very cut properly. But apart from that, the head sculpt actually is not too bad. It's nice. You can move it around, of course. This is medium, this is large bust actually. And if you see the difference between the S01 and the S07, which I haven't seen in review made properly, basically this, you have the 2, if I turn them around, this is the profile, and this is the back. So as you can see, the S01 comparing to the S07 has a lower butt, yeah, and then you got this bottom one is a bit more rounded and it's slightly up, less skinnier, I would say, just slightly more in shape. And if you could compare without the head sculpt is a bit like, let me just put this on the side, you see the S01 is a bit skinnier than the S07. In terms of pale color, they probably use slightly different. They look probably the same. It's just probably my eyesight. Just a little bit darker, the S01 just a tight, yeah, just a little bit darker. In terms of armpit and the way they did the arms mold, it looks like that the S07 looks more humanized in a sense. There is less distance between the arm and the body itself, whether the S01 is actually quite distant between each other. It's just skinnier. Probably that's the reason why. But it looks not as natural as I would see, and as I would see it on the S07. So the S07 is a bit better in terms of that. So they improved something between the two. They have the S07 as genital parts as well, but they are a little bit more defined. They also have pointy feet as well. The S07, similar to the S01. Changed slightly. The S01 has this sort of imperfection in a sense, and the S07 is a bit more smaller feet, I would say, more pointy. I think they improved that slightly comparing to the S01. The S01 is probably was the first prototype, and the S07 is this one. So that's the two. Hand size, the hands that comes with both are pretty much the same size. The only difference is that the S01 does not have nail paint, and the S07 has nail paint and is actually more defined. The hands and the fingers are a little bit more defined than the S01. Apart from that, they look the same in terms of stature, in terms of height. Probably the S07 is slightly taller, but just a tad taller, not that much. So these are the two. These are the two figures, and again the S07, same flexibility, 22 to 28 point of flexibility point, articulations. Again, you can change articulations, pretty flexible. I think in terms of stiffness, same stiffness as the S01. I think these models that they produced previously in the previous years, they were not as flexible or as easy to maneuver in a sense like the new ones. But in terms of body shape, they're actually quite accurate. They're quite nice. Belly button, pretty much the same mold. I'll probably say, yeah, the S01 is just skinnier. That's all it is, and that's why you see more shoulder blade in the back. It's more bony than the S07. So that's it. So basically, what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use a couple of dresses I've got here just to show you how hard it is to put this stuff on them. I've got this, which is part of the S07, and I've got a bunch of more here on the side. I've got this one here, which is like made out of lace or something. White dress. I'm gonna use this on the S01, and I'm gonna use this on the S07, which is the actual swimwear that came with. And then we're gonna try some head sculpt and see how they look. And that's pretty much it. I'm gonna just do this now while you're on camera, and let's see how it goes. Let me stand down like this. And let's start with this one here. So the S01. This is just one piece dress essentially, and we're gonna use this. I'm gonna put this on first, and then we're gonna put one of the head sculpt that I've got in the box. I believe this is probably goes inside like that. So when you do this, you need to be very careful, especially when you open this for the first time. They have a little bit of powder, but if you need some powder, of course, use a talco like I've got here, like a baby powder, or use one of this face powder or anything you like, and use this brush just to make it a little bit easier and less messy. Just a little bit of that, just to help you to put the dress on, really. Just do that a little bit. So a guy on YouTube was doing the same thing for the action figures, like male action figures as well, to put like additional dresses. Was struggling because the silicone body, it's create quite a friction, so it might take a while to put them on. So this is, I used this already, I tried this before, but these dresses are not 100% perfect, and they might get ruined after a while, after you removing and putting on all the time. It's just they might not last that long. But so that is, and you can find this on eBay, you can find this on KG Hobby website as well, from Hong Kong. So that is, it goes around the neck, that. So you gotta be a little bit patient when you do this, because this is gonna take a little bit to do. Once you've done that, stick it in the neck. And also I noticed the ball that actually holds the head sculpt on the S01 and the S07 are a bit bigger. It's a bit bigger comparing to the S34, the previous model, this one here. The S34 model has this little ball head slightly smaller, so you might have to adapt a little bit of blue tag or white tag or whatever you want to call it. I use this just to fix it inside the head, or one of these little cylinders that goes in the head sculpt. You have to use that probably. So that is the dress that you can fit on a figure like her. And I think proportionally, like talking about proportions, this body looks more proportionate comparing to the S34, and it's just the head, the bust on that one, on the S34 is just way too big. It's way too exaggerated. That is how it looks like this. Let's try one of the head sculpt. Got a bunch of head sculpt. I'm gonna try this one here. Again, I don't remember the number of this, but I'm gonna put the number on the screen. Also, this was kindly sent to me, and that is the head sculpt that I've got, which is quite nice. In terms of the color of the skin, this skin here, if you see it on the picture online, looks pale, but when you receive it, it's actually grayish, like between pink and grayish. This is a pale body, but if you put it on and you have some dresses, it will deceive the color a bit, so it won't be such a shock for that, in a sense that there's not much a difference in terms of color and tone. The insert is there, the little cylinders are ready into the head sculpt. I noticed the Super Duck brand, it's made a little bit better comparing to the Kumik brand, I have to say, in terms of manufacture, unless I've got that model wrongly, because when I open it, it wasn't as good and as actually hard material as this one. So I'm gonna just try to put these on. There we go, it has to click. This clicks perfectly because the body is actually a standard body, it's not a smaller body like the S34 or any other that came after that. And it looks quite nice. And actually the tan, the face tan, the color is not too different from the rest. For me, it's fine. And then you can just use any pose you like. And that's how would look an S01 body with this Super Duck head sculpt. And then of course you can use something like a brush. Usually when Super Duck have quite a good hair quality, I have to say, it looks almost real, scary real, probably from a real person, but this model in particular looks like they are plastic, they don't look real. God, the other model looks like they actually took it from someone. But this is how you would do with toothbrush, just to remove some strain, some bits and pieces that comes in excess. So that's the body part, and then this is gonna be the addition of the rest. It unfortunately doesn't come with a stand. I'm not really a collector of this stuff, so I don't really have stand lying around, but I would just leave it like this for now. And for the S07, this comes with this swimwear, and I'm gonna try to put this on as well. So this, if you see it, is actually one, two, three, four. These are 4 pieces, because these are actually some sort of a bracelet, or I don't know how to call it. This is just probably to hide or to deceive the viewer from the detachment here from between the hands and the arm. So you just put this on top of it to deceive that. So that's probably what it is. You wouldn't see in real life someone who actually wear this on their wrists. Very minimal. The swimwear is very minimal. You have this textile, a little bit flexible, but you got to be careful because this is just looks so weak. I don't know how long it's gonna last, but when you put it on, again, before you do that, use your trusted brush, a little bit of talco or face powder, just give it a go all around, just to make your life easier when you put dresses on top. And that's it, and you just do that. And again, sometimes you find also other accessories, definitely not as weak as this one. You probably find something a little bit more suitable for this kind of figures. You might find like superheroes or like proper dresses. They actually last longer than this. And again, I had to give a big shout to KG Hobby to have all of these figures available. So this is gonna be a struggle a little bit. So let's see if we can put it on with not much trouble. Again, links are in the description below if you want to find out about all the accessories that I talked in the beginning of this video and the models I'm using at the moment. I'm comparing, and you see once they have something, once they're dressed, you can actually appreciate figures better, and perhaps you're still in doubt of what figures to get, and this would be probably a good video to watch and to find out which is best. This is really, thanks God this is a bit elastic, but it's not as easy to put on. Like if you dress a Barbie, it's not gonna be as difficult as dressing this. This is just a bit tedious to go for. That's it. So this ordering from the website, from the Hong Kong website, it might take up to 20 working days, but if you talk to them, they are kind enough to actually send it to you in a shorter period of time. So just talk to them. They're very flexible in terms of delivery, timing. It also depends where you are around the world, really. If you are in Europe, usually it takes around 20 working days. You might be able to ask to send it to a different shipping method. But that is it. That's the bottom. Again, this is very flexible, so you can actually mold it and fold it, fold it as you like it. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. Just that looks like this. Perhaps you want to pull it up a little bit like this. That's fine. And then you can do the same thing with the top. And I'm gonna put the arm, the actual, this little bracelet, I don't know how you want to call it, these things on the arms. And to remove the arm, I noticed this, to remove the actual hands, is a bit stiff. So when you do that, don't be afraid. It's actually got, you see this little ball head here, and then you just put this into it. But this is also elastic, so when you do that, you just put them. It's gonna take a little bit to put them on, to be honest. So I'll try now to put it as fast as I can without compromising too much. I don't want to rip the silicone. You got to be quite careful when you put that on. Again, the skeleton on the S07 and the S01, the articulations themselves are a bit stiffer comparing to an S34 or an S37, the one that has like a manga style, Japanese style body. Those ones are a bit more softer to manipulate. There we go, that's how it looks. So it deceives the viewer from the fact that the hands are actually detachable, because the legs are seamless, which are quite nice. The other side as well, you pull it out, don't be afraid. And we're gonna put that as well. Again, looking at this skin tone, comparing again to the S34, that's my first reference because I never had figures like this. It's a bit darker and a little bit grayish, more grayish. It looks like more like a human skin, like a European, even though these are like Asian, between Asian and European. I wouldn't know how to really categorize them, but but the skin tone is not as pale as the S34. S34 looks like a little bit orangey, I would say, for my taste, but it's fine. Probably is a younger, perhaps a younger representation of the human body. This is like more mature, I would say. In my opinion, the hands are a little bit too big, like bigger than normal, but I might be wrong. But this is how it looks with this little bracelet slash thingy, I don't know, hands thingy. And then this is the top. I'm trying the top. You can try to put the top, the first time I tried it, you can try to put the top without removing the head, but I noticed that when you remove the head, when you do that, it's actually easier. And again, the ball head here is the same ball head size as the S01, and that is it. And then we're gonna just put this on. Very flimsy, it looks like, but apparently Tbleague or Phicen, as it used to be, provided this free. That's what they say. It is free when you buy it, but I think you pay everything. when you buy these figures, I think you pay every penny on this. Now, this swimwear in particular has quite long strings in the back. I think this is just for your convenience, really, to allow you to put the dress, to put the swimwear or anything else easier. So I'm just gonna put this like that. I'm gonna speed it up, but you don't have to watch me doing this. It'll be quite tedious to watch. And by the way, this figure in particular, sometimes you find imperfection on the mold. They're not all super perfectly molded. Silicone is not as perfect as you would find something in like hard shape or hard material, like an hard material doll or figure. You see, this one comes with a little bit of stain. I don't know if you can see it here on screen. That's it. I think you can remove that with a little bit of soap and water. Yeah, you can try with that. I'm not gonna try now anything. I don't have anything now to wash it, but that is, you need to be careful when you handle this figures because they can get easily stained. So wash your hands. So some collectors using latex gloves when they handle these figures. I wash my hands, it's fine. So that is the swimwear with all the accessories. Put the head back. I would say the neck is quite thick, it's actually thicker than mine, but this is how it looks with the swimwear. And comparing to the S01, you notice the S01 is actually skinnier than the S07. Quite like both head sculpt, actually. They're quite nice. They made quite nicely, actually. I saw all the other head sculpt, all the other figures that they released recently. Tbleague's release is recently, and they are actually quite nice. The one that I saw in terms of Kumik or other brand like the Super Duck. The Super Duck is the one that I personally prefer in terms of accuracy, but sometimes you find a Kumik head sculpt as well. But these are the two. The stand, let's build the stand as well, just to make everything. So that the stand is exactly the same as the S34 headstand, nothing changed. Stick this in there, and you have now the crotch holder and the waist holder. I prefer to use the crotch holder. Some people says that the crotch holder is actually, the fact that it's metal and might actually stain the figure, but to be honest with you, I haven't noticed any difference. So you just put it in there, and I use it as a way for the figure to hold it with the hands or on the side. It doesn't matter, you can just use both of them, and there we go. You got both figures now ready for your kit bash, and they look like this. I actually managed to use one stand for both of them. I don't know if you can see them now in focus. That's it, they are. Again, now if you just to have a final comparison, just to make sure that we reiterate the differences. So the S01 has a slightly thinner legs, not that much, it's just a tad thinner, not that much. The mold, I would say, of the knees, I would say both dolls are accurate. The S01 is a bit more pronounced. The hands size for both are the same, exactly the same. This is medium bust, this is a large bust. And again, I prefer the S07 arms, you know, with the seamless attachment of the arms to the body, because it looks more human, comparing to the S01 that looks like fake. They don't look really they don't look super accurate. This distance, with this distance here, it looks a little bit weird. Let me just put this in focus again. Yeah, focus, there we go. So the comparison is this, that the main difference is that in terms of leg size are similar. The butt on the other side, the bottom part, now with the clothing is a bit more difficult to see, but basically the S01 has a lower butt comparing to the S07, which is a bit up and rounded. So if you want like a more curvy figure for whatever kit bash you want to do, I would say the S07 would be the best in terms of that. If you want to have like a more skinnier but still same sort of muscle consistency and body consistency, but you want to keep everything like toned down, especially for clothing, it's easier to dress the S01. So that's the S01 advantages. In terms of heels, high heels, feet, the S07, it's improved comparing to the S01 because has a more proportionate toes comparing to the S01, which are slightly longer, slightly, yeah, a bit more like weirder, I would say, comparing to the S07. But these are probably the transition that I think Tbleagues had throughout the years, trying to find the perfect harmony between the different figures that they developed. And these are the two, eventually compared the two models, S01 and S07, on video that I actually eventually done myself. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you have any questions about these models, just let me know. Thanks to KG Hobby to provide these figures, and also to the other shop that provides all the other accessories as well. You find all the description about these models and all the links that you need to, if you want to buy them, if you want to get them, you find the links down in the description below. And that is it, that's the review. Thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.